the outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Kevin Dwayne, and this is the Outline Podcast, your weekly discussion of what's trending in pop culture, the LGBT community, and a piece of encouragement for everyone. Hope you are enjoying your week, making it through. Lord knows they're getting all of their money at my 9 to 5. Let me tell you, like, I'm backing up somebody this week, and I've not done my own work. I'm so busy doing someone else's work and projects that my shit is just falling to the wayside. I'm just like, whatever, I'll do it for the team, but just know there's a limit to this shit. So I'm trying to get to the weekend, but still grateful, still enjoying life, still living my best life nonetheless. Last week's show was pre-recorded, so I didn't get to update you guys on what's going on with me. So a year and a half ago on the show, I talked about the growth on my head. It was called a lipoma. I spoke about going to a doctor and having them tell me that they couldn't remove it, and they sent me to like all these dermatologists, and I kept going. It got to the point that I was going from doctor to doctor and having them tell me that they couldn't remove it because it was on my head and I needed to go to a plastic surgeon. And I was getting so sick and tired of paying co-pays and wasting this money for people to tell me they couldn't do shit. Ain't that a bitch? Like, I understand paying for time because as a photographer, to book me, there is a booking fee. I get it. But shit, these doctors will charge you. You pay the copay. You fill out the paperwork, you wait, they'll walk in the fucking room and say, oh, I can't do anything about that, goodbye. And then you'll get a bill for like $75 and be like, what the fuck? Like, you charged me and you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing. Like, I get the hustle and I kind of respect it, but I don't have the coin to just be giving y'all money for nothing, but whatever. So it got to a point where I couldn't find someone to get the lipoma removed. So I kind of just said, fuck it for a while, and I just let it be. For the most part, people would notice it but wouldn't say anything, but I could tell because when I was talking to them, they would you can see their eyes looking at it, but they didn't want to be rude and say anything. But that's just some people. Some people were flat out rude and was like, what happened to your head? Who hit you? What is that? And then I would then retort with, oh, it's a tumor. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. And I'd be like, it's benign though. Calm the fuck down. But I talked about this a while ago, and I remember being upset the day I recorded it because I was feeling kind of discouraged. I was like, damn, I really want to get this removed. But then as soon as I heard plastic surgeon, I was like, how much is that gonna fucking cost? Like shit. Like I've never heard of a affordable plastic surgeon, you know what I mean? So I kind of let it be for a while and just tried my best to, I guess, ignore it. And I did. It really didn't affect my confidence per se. Like, I didn't let it, I mean, it damn sure didn't slow down any dick, so I was good. But it was one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna have to eventually get this removed. So recently, and I mean recently, maybe not even a month ago. Yeah, about a month ago, I started thinking about it again one night before going to bed because I believe in manifesting things. And so before I go to bed, I think about my day. I think about my intentions for the next day and what I did for that day. And I do the same thing in the morning, like with meditation and stuff like that. I kid you not. It was like a Sunday night. And I remember it was a Sunday because I had to go to the office. Now, I telework. I think you guys know that I work remotely from home, which is a great benefit to doing everything else that I need to do with my life. It's a great balance of everything. So it was a Sunday night, and it was before I had to go to the office for 3 goddamn weeks for this training. I was over it, didn't want to go, but I was whatever. I was laying up in my bed and I was like, okay, I need to start thinking about getting this thing removed again. Lately, I've been having these visions of me being on television. And it's just like nagging the fuck out of me. I really feel like something's gonna happen where I'm gonna be on TV, and I damn sure don't want this goddamn nodule on my head because I don't want to give anybody a reason to like try to go in on me on Twitter or some shit like that. I was just like, I just had this feeling like something's gonna happen or an opportunity is going to arrive where I'm going to need this removed. I had a situation like that before in the past. If you guys have seen on Facebook or whatever, I do some hair modeling for this company called Dr. Fill-In. And we're doing a shoot and the photographer pointed it out and it made me feel like it was awkward for me because he was taking my pictures and they already had did the makeup and all that shit, and then he was like, oh, we need to do something about the spot on his head. I'm having a hard time working around that because it's catching light. And I'm just like, whatever. So they came and put some extra foundation over it or some shit. And he, I'm like, just use a healing brush like I've been fucking doing, photographer to photographer. But whatever. So shit like that. I wanted to reduce that. So that Sunday, I was just like, okay, I need to start thinking about getting this removed. I know there's someone who can do it. I need to just actively check with my insurance, check with people, find a way to get this off of my head. So fast forward to the very next day. I'm in the office for this training that I don't want to fucking do. We're about 2 hours in, and then I have to go to the restroom. So I go to the restroom. I run into, I guess, a colleague. We never actually worked directly together, but we're in the same office. And he straight out said, hey, that spot on your head, I used to have one of those. Like, you should check out this doctor. I got to remove for this amount of money. Check them out. I'll give you the number. Instantly, I was like, see, this is why I believe in manifestation. This is why I wholeheartedly believe that if you think something, you can do it. And I'll dig into that a little bit later in this show. But I was like, that's crazy that last night, and I'm not fucking around. I'm not telling you guys this just to make it sound cool. I'm telling you the truth. I thought this on Sunday, and Monday this happened. He was all like, go to this doctor, give me your phone number, I'll give you mine, and I'll look it up on my paperwork and give it to you. So I instantly got excited, but not too excited, because you know what happens when you get too excited and you end up, I didn't want to be disappointed again and be told they couldn't do it. But whatever. So I ended up getting his number, which I already had in my phone. I was like, actually, I already have it. And so I reached out to him that night and I was like, is this, and I was doing my own Googling because he gave me an idea of where the location was. And I was like, well, I'll start Googling now because I was anxious. I wanted to know. So finally I found it and I reached out to him. He didn't call me and said, oh yeah, that is the doctor I went to. Check them out and wishing you the best on that. And I was like, thank you so much. So the very next day I called, made an appointment to go. I made my appointment. They scheduled me for, because it was a Monday. I went that Thursday. Yep, I went that Thursday for my appointment. So went there, filled out the paperwork, met with the doctor. So when I got with the doctor, she was like, yes, this is a lipoma, which I'm like, I know that. I've been told by 3 or 4 people. Can you remove it? She was like, I cannot remove it. However, I have a direct doctor that is on the very next street who will remove it for you. It's just because of where it is, you have to make sure it's done right. I was like, yes, I've heard that over and over again. She was like, but listen, you won't have to fill out anything else. We're going to forward your stuff over to the surgeon's office and they will handle it for you. So when I got to the parking lot, I called the surgeon. They were like, oh, they already sent your stuff over. Let's go ahead and schedule a date for you to come in for consultation. I'm like, okay, cool. She was like, if everything checks out with your insurance and everything checks out and you're, with all that stuff, we can probably do it on the spot. I was like, okay, cool. So now it's like a week later, I go to the surgeon's office. It's a plastic surgeon because it's on my face. I'm like, oh, shout out to me getting plastic surgery. Ooh, but yeah. Side note, Charles, who's been on the show, my best friend, he was telling me, he was like, okay, so now from now on, we play Never Have I Ever. I'm gonna say I've never had plastic surgery just so I can fuck you up. I'm like, whatever, nigga, whatever. But anyway, so I went the following week. And so the guy was like, oh, I specialize in these. He's like, yeah, I can totally get that removed for you. This is what you'll need. You need to get this prescription. You need to get this, blah, 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 blah. He's like, but we need to schedule it. And so part of me is like, cool. Now, part of me wanted them to pull it out right then and there. I've had this on my head for 4 years. It started growing in 2014. So it started out really, really small and it got really, really big over time. Some people say they never noticed it. God bless you all for not noticing it, but I noticed it and other people have noticed it. But shout out to you for making me feel better about it. But it started growing. So he was like, I specialize in them, but we got to schedule you to come back to get it done because we want to make sure that everything checks out, you know? Cool. So I went to schedule it and they were like, oh, well, the next date we have is like in 3 weeks. I was going to LA the following week, so I didn't really want to be bandaged up anyway. So I was like, okay, I'll be patient and I'll wait until I get back to get this done. So I scheduled it for the date was May 8th at 1:15 p.m. And when I tell you, when they gave me that date, I couldn't get it out of my head. I just wanted to get to the date and get this thing removed. Like I was like, oh, I cannot wait. Like I was counting down. I was on vacation trying to be done with vacation just so I could get this damn surgery done and get this removed. That's how much I was ready to get it done. So May 8th came and that's May 7th, let's give you the day before, I went to the store to get everything I needed. They give you a list of things like, oh, pick up your prescription. He prescribed me Percocets, which I was like, oh, okay, you give me the big shit. This is about to be interesting. And then went and got my prescription, went and got wound care kits, hydrogen peroxide, Band-Aids. You needed like what's it called? Aquaphor? Or like the it's like Vaseline pretty much, like a lubricating thing. Ice packs. What else did I get? Food, because I needed to eat and stuff like that. The whole thing was, it was gonna take 5 to 7 days of healing. So I just want to make sure I was prepared. So I got everything on that Monday. So Tuesday, I did a little bit of work from home and then I drove myself. It was outpatient. I called, people actually asked me. So shout out to Wabi, Jasmine, Brandon. A few people were like, hey, do you need me to take you? And I'm like, I think I'm good. It's outpatient. They're just going to numb me. If they put me under like anesthesia, that I wouldn't be able to drive. But because they were just numbing the area, I was fine to drive. So I went ahead and said, I'll do it myself. But if I need you all, I'll let you know. So thank you all for caring. So I did some work. I drove there. I was there like early as fuck. It was like 12:45, but they took me, as soon as I got there, they took me to the back room. This is where everything kind of became real for me. I've never had surgery before. The only thing I've had done is like dental work, like I had like a root canal, stuff like that. So I'm familiar with like, being numb and having things done and stuff like that. But I've never had my skin cut open or anything like that. And I also was like, okay, this is my head. This is like, top of my brain, not my brain, but it's my head. Like, so I'm like, okay, the room was really, really cold. But I was like, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I'm really about to get this done. And so I just started kind of just breathing. That's the whole thing. I just started breathing. Like I was like anxious to just get it over and done with, but also just remaining positive. Like this is going to go well. We're going to be fine. It's going to be cool. So they're talking to me like, do you want a blanket? And I was like, oh no, I'm good. And she was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I don't need one. And then she asked me a third time and I was like, okay, cool. Bring me the blanket. I'm glad she brought me the blanket because it was comfortable as fuck. But she brought me the blanket. And so she's like, all right, we're going to begin numbing you, because they already did their measurements and stuff. And so she started, she got this big ass needle out and I wasn't even looking at her get the needle. I knew what the game was. When I tell you that goddamn needle, I hate that shit. I don't have a issue with needles per se. Like I'm cool with it on any other part of my body except my ass and like anything that deals with like bone. Like I'm usually cool with like getting my blood taken and all that kind of shit. Not a problem. But the way she was positioning it into my head, it was a different kind of pinch that I just didn't want to endure for a long time. And the thing about the numbing solution, whatever the shit's called, I just know it's pink, they have to keep doing it in multiple areas to make sure that all of that is numb, because, that scalpel will take you the fuck out. So she just kept going in circles, sticking me with this goddamn needle. I said, hey girl, how many more times you gonna poke me with this shit? She was like, until you can't feel it anymore. I'm like, ain't this a bitch? So she's just poking and poking and poking and poking and poking. Finally, she stops for a little bit. And I do feel it kind of setting in and feeling myself getting a little numb. But here's what's interesting though. I was kind of touching it and I was like, okay, this part feels numb, but I know it's on the right side of the lipoma. I'm like, I feel like we need a little bit more on this side. She was like, do you feel like, so she can't, another nurse came over because there were like 4 people in the room, which I was like, y'all better be efficient in this bitch. There were 4 people in the room. So it was 3 nurses and the actual surgeon. And so the other nurse came on and she was just like, can you feel this? And I was like, I can feel that. She's like, okay, well, I need to numb you on this side too. So she continued numbing me. This made me a little bit nervous, a little bit, because I'm like, well, I don't know what part he's going to cut into, but the fact that I can feel that made me feel like, oh shit, like y'all could fuck me up. But it was, I knew I could trust them, so I wasn't tripping because apparently I couldn't see it, but apparently when you're numb, they can see what parts are numb because you kind of go blue. And she was like, I can see where you are numb though. So, so she did the other side for my comfort. At that point, I couldn't feel shit. So he comes in, and so I'm wondering like what it's gonna be like because I've talked to other people who've had lipomas removed, and they were telling me, they heard like the tools and stuff, and it made them nervous. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I've also had dental work. I know what it's like to feel like a goddamn hood of a car, and they're just working on you can't feel shit. So I was like, whatever. So he puts this tarp over my head. It's like a blue tarp. And it was the whole point to he was like, this is to keep you clean. Like, I don't want it to be a mess. And I also don't want you to, be worried about what's going on up here. So the tarp, they cut a small little hole that just covered the growth on my head. And all I could see was forward. And so at that point, he literally just started talking to me about work. He's like, oh, what type of work do you do? Like, he's talking to me this whole time. I feel like I'm getting my hair braided because all they're doing is jerking my head back and forth. And I can't feel anything. So I'm just looking forward at this blue tarp and I'm just talking to him about basic ass lame shit about photography and work and family life and where I'm from. And literally like 20 minutes later, he's like, all right, you're all done. I'm about to stitch you up. And that was that. So he ended up stitching me and they got this big ass bandage and wrapped it around my head. And that was all she wrote. I walked out and yeah, I can't, I brought my ass home and I laid down. They told me, they were like, okay, so anytime you deal with the muscles in the head, because the lipoma was above my eyebrows, it was on my forehead. They're like, anytime you deal with that, chances are you're going to swell up and you're probably going to get a black eye. You need to go home and lay down immediately with an ice pack. So I followed the orders. I came home, downloaded an audiobook. I listened to Charlemagne's book, Black Privilege, which I actually enjoyed a lot, by the way. He's a troll, but I get his story, and it makes a lot more sense when you hear it. So I lay my ass down with the ice pack, and I chilled. I was good for the most part without any, I took 2 extra strength Tylenols because the opiates or the Percocet made me nervous. If you don't know anything about Percocets are highly addictive, and there's hella warnings about them. Like even when you get them, it says take the lowest dose possible for the shortest period of time. And I was like, I don't really want any addiction, so I'm gonna try my best to kind of hold this off. I'll wait until the pain is like unbearable or really, really intense, and then I'll take it. And I'll probably do it before bed, just so I don't have any freakouts, And I also don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. So I kept putting off taking it. And the pain was like, I didn't really feel much. It was just pressure because my head did swell up so big. Like I didn't get any black eyes, but my forehead got so fucking swollen and huge. And it was like a lot of pressure. So I took a couple extra Tylenols and, just kind of chilled and just rested. But around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, that's when the shit that made me numb, it was anesthesia or whatever. When that shit started wearing off, okay, that shit got real. All of a sudden, everything just started coming. It's all coming back to me now. That shit was so intense. I was like, oh shit, it was the craziest fucking headache ever. And what's hilarious about it is my doctor called me. Now, I've never had any intense surgeries or anything like this, so I'm not used to doctors calling. So I thought that was sweet that he called me. He was like, hey, I just want to check on you. He's like, I'm pretty sure you probably have the craziest headache of your life. If so, go ahead and take the medicine and just rest. You'll be fine by tomorrow. And so I thanked him for that. I thought that was really, really sweet of him. Other people called me too. My manager called me and like friends checked on me. So it was really dope. I'm glad that people looked out for me, but whatever. So it kicked in. So at 8 o'clock, I popped the fuck out of that Percocet and I literally transformed to a white woman in Beverly Hills. Like that shit was amazing. Like absolutely amazing. I said, oh, I see how motherfuckers get addicted to this shit. Because let me tell you about this motherfucking pill. That shit not only cuts off all of the receptors in your nerve endings so you don't feel shit, it releases little dopamine into your body. And all of a sudden you just feel wonderful about life. Like you just feel great about everything. I felt so good that I actually jacked off. Sure the fuck did. Sure the fuck beat it all of my meat. Got a couple nuts. I felt wonderful. Like that shit had me feeling lovely. Lovely. I was like, oh, I get it now. This is why. That dopamine is no joke. I felt wonderful. Had some of the best sleep ever, my nigga. Like I knocked the fuck out, didn't feel anything. So the next day, woke up, moderate pain. It wasn't as bad as the first night. It was as they said. The first night is the worst. But at this point, I was still very swollen. And so now it was a matter of getting the swelling to go down. So throughout day 2, I took the Percocets I think it was 4 to 6 hours. So I think every 6 hours is when I took it. So I took like 2 more the next day. By day 3, I was Gucci. I was good. Didn't feel anything. It just felt like a cut. And that's where the stitches were. So basically with the stitches, by day 3 is when I had to do all the cleaning. I had to take the wrap off, take Q-tips, and I know I'm being very detailed, but you might want to know this shit. That's when I had to take the peroxide and clean up the stitches, make sure there's no scabbing and keeping it lubricated and putting another bandage over it. So I just felt that it takes 5 to 7 days for the top stitches to heal, which gets us to now. Right now, I'll say they're like at 95% healed, but there's still like a little corner, I think, that isn't done healing. But for the most part, it's pretty dope. And I was good at that point. I've seen people since then. I've gone to the movies with my cousin. I've talked to people on Marco Polo. I even put a picture online the day after or 2 days after, and people don't even notice it. It's like, what surgery? I'm like, new forehead, who this? But the incision is right under my hairline. He did an amazing job with this incision. So and my hair is a little longer as well, so you really can't see it. So I'm really pleased with the work done, and I'm happy that another chapter has ended. I had this thing on my head for 4 years and now it's gone. And it's funny because looking in the mirror is still weird for me because I got used to seeing it. So now I'm like, oh shit, this shit is really gone. Like it's really gone. So no more lipoma. Super excited about it. Everything went well. I'm good. Everything's back to normal. I'm just waiting for the top stitches to kind of finish doing what they're gonna do, and then there are some stitches below it, but that's behind the scenes. I think they'll take a little bit longer, but I'm hype. I got a new forehead, y'all. Like, isn't it crazy how we can be born with the bodies that we have and we're used to it being a certain way, and then something can happen like a growth or something with your skin or anything can cause it to change, and then you have to do so much to restore it back to what it was, but it makes you way more grateful. Like I am mad grateful for insurance. I'm grateful for connections. I'm grateful for great surgeons. I'm super happy that is done. And yeah, so that's the update. Lipoma is gone. Now I can be on TV because I feel it, y'all. I feel it. I'm gonna be on television. Like, I know I'm saying it out loud because you gotta put in the atmosphere. I just have a feeling, and now I'm ready. I am ready. Let's do this shit. So y'all ain't even knowing. Like, this summer is about to be ridiculous. Real thoughtful. Like, I'm back in the gym. I couldn't work out for 5 to 7 days. It killed me not being able to work out because it's a part of my life. So now I'm back in the gym doing 2-a-days. I'm also trying this limited sugar challenge. It's pretty much no sugar, but sugar's in everything, so it's really, really difficult. So I'm limiting all my sugar. No sweets, no juices, No mixers, no alcohol. Like, I'm cutting everything out. Summer is around the motherfucking corner. I am trying to get this body in order. Like, I'm trying to stunt on all of you motherfuckers. Like, it is just like it's nothing. Like, it's child's play. So trying that right now and just trying to keep up the work that I've started. It's about execution. That's what it's about. And that pushes me into something else I want to talk about. And it's just the idea of figuring out if you really, really want something, are you capable of doing what it takes to get it? I was talking to Brandon, who I really want to be on the podcast. I'll get him on the show eventually. If you watch me on YouTube, you saw him on there, but I really want him on the podcast with a little deep ass voice. But I was telling him about the me doing this no sugar challenge for myself. He was like, I'm trying to be like you. He's like, that no sugar thing is difficult. I say, that's true, but you know, the saying goes, to get stuff that you've never had or get something that you've never had, you have to do things that you've never done. And I'm learning that to be very, very true. Like, you guys have seen it with me. Like I told you at the top of this year is all about execution. And I truly believe if I can appraise myself, I've stuck to that. I've been executing. I've been doing what I wanted to do, and it's yielding great results. So what I've been thinking about is I have a lot of people who now ask me questions about, like, okay, can you tell me more about veganism? Can you tell me more about intermittent fasting? Tell me more about yoga. Tell me more about weight loss. Tell me more about podcasting. Tell me more about all these things that I'm doing because they see me doing them. And I have no problem giving advice and telling people stuff. But what I do have an issue with is people who don't listen and who don't execute themselves. And it gets to a point where, as a doer, because I do believe I'm a doer, I'm tired of hearing the excuses of people who just talk and don't do. And that leads me to ask you this question and ask myself too, because there's still things that I haven't done that I want to do. The question is, do you really want it? Because talk is fucking cheap. Like, I'm so over lip service. I don't want to hear about what you have for me or what opportunities may come. Let me talk about it when you do it. Give me the action that goes behind it. So I'm getting to a point where I don't want to talk about veganism ad nauseum to someone who's not actually going to try it. I don't want to talk about weight loss and my workout plans and how often I work out and what I do if you're not going to actually do it, because you're just wasting my time and you're wasting my breath and you're wasting your own time because you're cheating yourself out of an opportunity to make changes in your life that you want for yourself, if you really want them. And it just gets to a place where you're just all like, think about any goal that you have, any desire that you want. Do you really want it? And are you willing to do what it takes to get it? Because that book is not going to write itself. And I'm speaking to myself right now when I say that. That podcast isn't going to record itself. That fat around your midsection is not going to move with you half-assing it or doing nothing at all. Thinking is cute. Having intention is cute. But after a certain age, it just looks like laziness. And it just is what it is. And I'm getting to a place where I'm like, listen, if you want it, go fucking get it. If you want to do it, go do it. Do whatever you have to do to get your chakras aligned, manifest, whatever. Do what you have to do to get the shit done. But stop making excuses and stop wasting people's time who are actually out there doing it. Get some shit done. There's so many hours in a day. And even if you're trying, try the fuck harder. Try it. Try harder. Let's talk about weight loss, for example, because this used to be me. So I'm definitely not pointing fingers, but I just want you all to hear me and hear me good. Let's say you say, I want this type of body. This is the body I want. I want this 6-pack. I want a chiseled body. I want this. Well, let me tell you something. You going to the gym and hopping on the treadmill for 30 minutes is not going to get you that body. It's just not. I need you to stop lying to yourself and stop wasting your fucking time. Look deeper, dig deeper, come up with a plan that's actually going to work. Talk to people who actually have the body that you want and talk to them about what they do, and come to the realization that you're going to have to do something similar to what they do. Not the exact, but something similar. For example, weight training. There's people I know men, women, whatever, who they will not go near a weight room whatsoever. I used to be that person. I didn't want to deal with weights, but my body didn't start changing until I started fucking with those weights, because you need resistance training. Now, I'm not here to give you fitness advice. I'm here to talk about a basic principle. Stop wasting your time if you're not going to commit completely. If you really want it, you're going to look at fitness magazines. You're going to Google workout plans. You're going to actually change your eating. Because another thing that drives me crazy is someone who will go to the gym, kill themselves in the gym, and then pull right the fuck into McDonald's or Taco Bell, wherever else under 30-year-olds eat, because that shit, I can't eat none of it anymore. Like, my stomach don't have the enzymes for none of that. So I can't have none of it. So good luck to you. But don't waste a workout by going and eating trash ass food. Like, you can't outperform bad eating. You just can't. Like, everything really happens in the kitchen. So, do you really want it? Do you really want it? Go get it. Like, if you want to have a website where you write or you style, you need to start small somewhere. And I'm not saying don't start at all. Like, that's another thing about the treadmill. I'm not shaming you for going. At least you're starting somewhere. But you have to add more to it. You can't stay stagnant. It's a forever evolving process. One thing I've learned about weightlifting in the last, I think it's been 14, 15 weeks that I've been lifting consistently, is that you always got to go up in that weight. And you get to a point you're like, God damn, like, this weight's getting heavier, but I have to keep challenging my body. You can't do the same shit and expect progress. Now, don't get me wrong. You can certainly lose weight with a steady routine. But depending on your goals, you might not get the look that you're going for, because there's a lot of, as they say, what they say, skinny fat people around there who lost a lot of weight, but they have no muscle definition and stuff like that. Once again, this is not about fitness, it's about principle, but this is the best example to use. But you got to up the ante sometimes. You start somewhere, but always make sure you're building and moving up, especially if you really want it. If you really want to hit a goal, you got to work towards it actively, progressively, and keep moving up that ladder if you really fucking want it. If you really don't want it and you kind of half-ass want it, shut the fuck up. Stop telling people about it. Stop talking about it. Stop even dreaming about it. Find something else that you will do and do that well. But if you really, really want to change in your life and you want to do something different, do something different. It's that simple. And that's a hard lesson that I had to teach myself. I got so tired of being in the place I was, so I was like, okay, I got to actively make a change. And when I did, I was rewarded with what? That fucking change. And I'm not here to convict. I'm here to inspire. That's it. Like, if you really want it, go get it. But stop bullshitting yourself and stop bullshitting other people. Anything you want is very well attainable in this life. Nothing is impossible, but you got to work for it. Like, what I'm learning the most from, like, celebrities like Tiffany Haddish and Cardi B and hell, Beyonce and all these people, you can't outperform good work ethic. You can have the most talent or you can have the least talent. But if you work hard, you can achieve a lot of shit. And that principle should be applied to everything if you really want it. So I ask you again before closing this show out, do you really want it? If so, get to work. Get to work. And that's it. This show, I wanted it to be simple. I wanted it to be clean. I didn't want no ads in the show. It's an ad-free show because I didn't feel like recording that shit. And low on pop culture. I wanted to just get in here, tell my story about how I manifested something really, really awesome, and also inspire you to go get your awesome. You can do it. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you all next week. Peace out.